Greetings, I am Dr. Jacqueline Mashiko, and today we are in Pretoria, joining Sisonke National Movement as we join the march to the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development to deliver a memorandum demanding clarity on the Sexual Offences Act bill, which is intended to decriminalise sex work. It has been many years waiting for the commitments that the department has made to be met, and as we are here today, we are here to actually tell them that we need these commitments to be met. So join us as we join the march and we lead change.
That health departments ensure transparency, inclusivity, accountability. We clear milestone follow-up mechanism and consistent feedback that genuinely reflects the voices and lived experience of sex workers. Number 3, an acknowledgement again of the department's intention. While Sisonke recognized the internal challenges and the constitutional review of the Office of the Chief State Law Advisor and Senior Counsel, the prolonged delay since the public comment period closes the 31st of January 2023 has a severe implication for sex workers who continue to face criminalisation, violence, stigma, and social inclusion. We therefore respectfully, requesting on the clarity on the following things. A, the consultation feedback. Once Sisonke acknowledged the consultation process involved 5 respondents from Sisonke sector has taken place, no formal feedback or the report of the outcome of that engagement has been shared. We request that the department provide a comprehensive update on the findings, recommendation emerging from these consultations. Number B, timeline and next step. We further request a clear time-bound roadmap outlining the next stage in finalizing advising the bill, including the submission to Cabinet, to Parliament consideration to ensure accountability and progress. Number C, labor rights and social justice. The process continues to uphold decriminalisation of sex work to the center of its labor right, workplace and protection and social justice to ensure that live realities and priorities of sex workers inform every stage of the legislative reform, rather than introducing punitive and restrictive measures under those guise of regulations.
So, seeing the signing happen today, how does that make you feel? Do you think there will be further progress, or do you think that it just ends here as per usual?
I think knowing the Justice Department, we all know it might end here, but we're very hopeful that maybe things are going to change, seeing that we are all here, we're present, cameras are here, everyone has seen that they signed, so we are all hopeful that maybe things are going to change this time.
And what more do you think South Africa as a nation can do to support the sex work movement?
I think the sensitization of people in high offices is what we really need, because it's pointless that people that sit in these offices know what they should do, but the police on the streets don't know, because most of the abuse that we face as sex workers comes really from the police on the streets. They're the ones that beat us, arrest us, abuse us and everything, and they don't protect our rights as sex workers.
Thank you very much. How can we ensure that rural and township voices are included in the national dialogue about decriminalisation?
That can be done through maybe a consultation, where this is one of our worries, to say, remember the consultation that we are calling upon, they do not only include sex workers, we're including even people who are not doing sex work, your community members, people from the royal families, the landowners, people that are also part of our policymakers. They should also be consulted, and including children sector. We want it to be consulted because we need to know how would decriminalisation look like, because we need also to target to say what would happen if we achieve decriminalisation and we never consulted mothers, aunties, neighbors, street committees, police, whoever that we feel consultation should include. It shouldn't be sex workers specifically.
And seeing that some countries have decriminalized sex work, how do you think maybe South Africa can see how they have their system, how it works for them? Because South Africa makes it seem as though decriminalizing sex work is a very negative thing. So what do you think South Africa can learn from the other countries?
South Africa needs to let go of the moral card, which is number one. And then from there, we acknowledge that South Africa is a very much Christian country. And, if you look thoroughly into the scriptures, you would at some point also acknowledge that at some point Jesus also said, sex workers need to be let alone. And ever since in that particular city, sex workers were never stoned again after Jesus declared. So literally, we are the new Jesus in the 2025 to say, let go of the violence around sex workers, stop the stigma, stop the discrimination, let inclusivity around sex workers be a thing for everybody, so that we can all collectively enjoy the human rights that globally South Africa seems to be one of the best constitutions in the world.
And listening to the demands that you facilitated a few minutes ago, do you think that the department would actually take that serious, considering the fact that it's been years waiting on the commitments that they've made?
We're worried because at any given time, it's going to be Christmas once again, and everybody, they're going to go into their own spaces, and boom, boom, then we're going for the local elections. Everybody's sex work wouldn't be a thing, even to entertain, because one of the things that we know, we were told sex work doesn't appetize the voters. So it will depend who wants to rule the next local elections. Maybe they might entertain it. Maybe justice will. So we're looking up to the ruling party to say, but in your own resolutions, you do have sex work fully, black and white, to say it must be decriminalized. Why not you do not be taking action? And for us now, and this is our first time under the Government of National Unity to actually do such a march, and also to remind them that before a Government of National Unity, there were commitments that you did in KZN, and there were the commitments again that you did in other spaces where you did reassure your commitment around decriminalization of sex work, but there's a delay in those processes to be fruitful.
And lastly, what would be a message to sex workers out there who feel uncertain and vulnerable and mostly unprotected by the government? What are your words of hope to them?
My words of hope to them is to say, the hope is coming for the fact that even if in our demand we say we are opening up to commit to justice, to work in a collective manner with them, and we want this must be approached in a very human right-based approach, meaning it must be something that sex workers themselves, they feel that they are owning up to their space, because of at the end of the day, when all is done said, this all leads to sex workers again.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. How can communities be educated to support and protect sex workers instead of discriminating against them?
Well, communities need to first unlearn what they have been taught decades ago, because the whole criminalisation system has fueled so much stigma and discrimination, and this whole moralistic view that everyone has of sex work is actually, I'm going to call it rubbish, because we live in a democratic country where people have the right to choose and to be. Yet we still maintain that we are a Christian country, therefore we must maintain moralistic rules. I mean, whose views when we can have families built of absent fathers, and yet we want to judge a person who is actually choosing their occupation? So people need to unlearn and stop hiding behind morals when they want to discriminate people.
So sex work is not a first choice. It's a circumstantial decision that you make. And looking at the unemployment rate in South Africa, it also is somewhat of a reason as to why sex work exists. So what is one message that you can send to the government, that the government needs to start implementing something, whatever you think they should implement, to actually help South Africa?
Well, I just want to retrack, by saying that everyone's choice is different. Everyone ends up in a certain job and in a certain occupation for various reasons. I mean, we get people who are doctors, but they never wanted to be doctors, but were forced into it by their parents. And we don't hear the big ooh-ha about it. And sex work is just the same. There's a magnitude of reasons why people end up in sex work. And the whole notion that it's a poverty-driven industry, that people need to be saved out of it, is really a misconception that we also need to unlearn. So then going back to your question of how do we bridge the gap? Actually, bridging the gap means decriminalizing sex work. That is our first point of departure, because we are talking about adults that are consenting to do something, that is recreational and therapeutic to them in some way, because not everyone who engages in sex work is having sexual intercourse with their clients. The umbrella of sex work is actually very big and wide, but there's this particular segment of it that is seen to be the biggest disgrace that we have. Particularly, sex work is just nothing but adult entertainment.
So seeing that the Sexual Offences Act bill has had commitments since 2023 and 2024, seeing the signing happen today, do you think it gives sex workers validation enough to say that something will happen and we will be protected?
You know what? We are moving in the right direction. This is 30 years of work. And we are really, really pressed for time. We cannot keep people waiting this long and just signing documents after documents and making empty promises. Our seventh administration is now in its second year in office. And just merely signing this memorandum, reminding them that you had made a commitment as far back as 2016 is really ridiculous. By now, we should be reaping the benefits of decriminalisation. So we are not going to remain hopeful, but we want to put as much pressure as we can that we are running out of time. And 8th administration, we cannot wait for you. 7th administration needs to act now.
Thank you very much.